Welcome to La Gazette! La Gazette this month in fashion. So this is a new format that we're trying out where we'll tell you about the month's most important happenings in the world of fashion.
We'll let you know the fashion and luxury world top news so you can just put your headphones on and walk on the streets or do the dishes or whatever and stay up to date in the latest in the industry.
Don't worry if we talk about something you need to see, like a magazine cover, a campaign, a look. We'll tell you to look at your phone if you can. Only if you can. If you're driving, just keep driving.
For this month in particular, September, we thought we'd wait until the end of the fashion month to bring you the latest.
As you may know, Fashion Month starts in New York at the beginning of the month, and then it continues to London, Milan, and finally Paris.
And this week was the last day of Paris Fashion Week, and the fashion month is officially over.
So it's the perfect time to tell you all about the top stories of the month.
Just a little clarification, we will not be doing our usual Fashion Week coverage here. We'll talk about some collections, but stay tuned for our Fashion Week videos coming soon.
Yeah, so let's get started with our top story of the month, Fashion Week. Obviously, the top story everywhere is COVID-19, and fashion is no different. The pandemic has affected the way fashion weeks normally take place, as you probably have noticed.
I think the most affected fashion city was probably New York, as brands there had to present their collections online exclusively.
And I think London too, I'm not sure, but I think London, it was also like exclusively online.
I think so.
In other cities, most brands presented online, and some brands had shows for only very reduced audiences.
The challenge for the brands was, of course, to break through the digital noise with experiences that were mostly or completely digital.
Yeah, I think this was very evident in New York, especially because other than Christian Siriano, which we all remember because of that moment at the end where Coco Rocha jumped in the pool in a huge red dress. I don't think anyone remembers.
This is the moment where you have to see your screen, because we're gonna put some pictures.
Oh yeah, yes. if you can look at your screen, and you're gonna see some photos of Coco Rocha at the pool. But yeah, I mean, I think this moment it was obviously like a stunt for social media. It worked because we're talking about it, but other than that, I think New York was very. Yes, I think there were not many buzzworthy moments. Maybe we can say, and I know fashion is not about buzz, but I don't recall any collection other than Christian Siriano, if I'm perfectly honest, which of course was a very Christian Siriano collection, very colorful nightgowns. And also it had the particularity of having face masks that went with every look. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was the only designer who did that, like matching face masks for every look of their collection. So yeah, I think it was the most relevant show of New York.
Yes, I don't remember any shows.
So let's move on to London.
Yes, let's go to London.
Well, London actually was very positive. The collections of, for example, Molly Goddard was full of tulle and colors. And I mean, my favorite collection and the favorite presentation, maybe I thought of a collection probably in the whole digital fashion week concept was Halpern. Because
Why?
Halpern did a video, instead of utilizing models to show the collection, he used frontline workers, so like metro drivers, and a metro driver, a nurse, a doctor, a grocery store employee. And
I think it's amazing.
I it's a super idea.
It's its way to express what he feels, and he wants to. I mean, this word empowering, it has a lot of
connotations,
and he wanted to show these women
and show them as heroes. And actually there's a very cute video where these women are interviewed about how they feel, if they feel as heroes, and they're all like, no, I was just doing my job, I didn't think of myself like that at all, I was just doing what I had to do. And he wanted to kind of pay tribute to them, and also like make them feel appreciated, and like a small thank you to all everything they did, while the rest of us were at home in pajamas watching Netflix. So
I like it because it's way to help and to appreciate, and
I think it's like the right response to the current mood of the world, because the clothes actually were very positive, like very colorful, full of like fun, and the video is fun where the women are wearing the clothes and they're posing for the photo shoot. And I think it's like it's a good feeling to have. It's not like a good feeling where you just ignore what's happening and you just show something of...
It's engagé. How do we say that in English? It takes...
Showing you care.
Yes, showing you care.
Yeah, I think it shows he cares, and that he's not just trying to make fashion about escapism, about something that's like ignore what's happening and just be happy.
Yeah,
but
like a fantasy.
Yes, but like taking this into consideration, how can we have a positive response to it? So I think it was very, very nice, and I loved it. I recommend you watch the video if you have the time. It's very touching, and the clothes are, as I say, very, very nice, full of colors, full of life. The women, they say that they feel like princesses, so that's super cute.
And then Burberry. What do you think about?
I mean, the collection, I actually liked it. The presentation, I felt it was a bit cold. I mean, it was conceptual, I think it was one of... there was two ways maybe to present a collection digitally, which is an empty fashion show. So just like models walking as if there was an audience, but not really.
Like in a studio where there are no emotions.
Or a story. And I think Burberry did a sort of a mix, because they were like on a runway in the forest. But at the end you could see that there was some sort of story where they arrived to like a cage and there was something going on. So it kept me attentive for more than the like average just like video of clothes walking by, because like I was intrigued by the story. And I think I like the collection. And you know what I noticed, like I liked there's a lot of looks. I noticed like there are a few brands that are showing looks. Obviously it's glittery and it's for fun, but if you look at them, they kind of look like armor, like paillettes in different sizes, like Paco Rabanne, like Vuitton did it as well, and Burberry did it as well, and it feels like armor, like a dress that is also an armor. I don't know, I have this I'm spotting this trend.
Yeah. Let's go to Milano.
Now we're arriving to Milan, and I think the highlight of Milan was the Prada Raf Simons collection.
First collection together.
Yes.
It was first like a runway, like in between a runway and a presentation.
Yeah, I think, well, in case you didn't know, Raf Simons, who was until recently the creative director of Calvin Klein, he left the brand, and then he had been doing not much for a few months, and then the announcement came earlier this year that he was going to be working with Prada, like with Miuccia Prada herself, and they were both going to be designing the brand together. So I think everybody in the fashion world was super excited about this. I mean,
and they had a lot of expectation also.
Yes. And I think they presented the collection in you can look at your phone a little bit now if you want to see to visualize it better. It was like a yellow sort of space with many cameras. And I think Miuccia talked about how her relationship with technology changed during the pandemic, because obviously they were forced to work a lot more in through technology, like through the computer, Zoom, etc. So I think this was a reflection of that, like her way of communicating this. Well, the collection itself had, as you could expect, classic elements from Raf and Muta, especially the nylon. I mean, we saw nylon everywhere. This is very, very Prada. And the silhouettes felt very Raf Simons, you know, like the sleeveless top with a straight pant. And I think that what was the like most representative silhouette of the collection was a coat, like a sort of coat cape that models had to hold with their hands, so it felt like a kind of protection, you know, like a cocoon. Thank you. So yeah, I think this is a clear message that we want to feel safe in a safe place. That may be our Prada coat.
And after, at the end, they did like sort of a press conference with questions from the fans.
It was very interesting. My favorite thing was what Mucha said about new, that new is the nightmare of every designer, but that it's not relevant anymore. And it's true that you think of fashion and you think of the need of new, because obviously that's what sells clothes. The fact that you feel like you need something new because what you have is no longer good enough. But Mucha said that she doesn't think that is relevant, and that now everybody has to express the deep thoughts of a brand, and that new for the sake of new doesn't seem important anymore. And I thought that summarized so well the shift in the mentality of consuming of people, you know, that that it's no longer cool to just wear something new every day. It's like wasteful.
Yes. Consumption for consumption is not trendy.
Hot.
It's not hot.
Yeah, and so they talked as well about their process of working together. They said that it's something very new, that they're still settling down, see how it works. We're so excited to see what they will come up with next, because obviously this is just a first step, and this was done through Zoom mostly, so it's not the same as when you're in the same room with someone. And yeah, so the fashion industry is still excited about this collaboration.
Another very interesting show that we saw, it was Moschino's.
Yeah.
It was presented with little dolls. They represented like people from the industry. You could see like Anna Wintour,
Hamish Bowles, I think Edward Enninful was there.
Everyone was there.
Anyone became a doll for the front row of Moschino. I'm sure you saw some pictures passed in your social media. If not, I suggest you look at the screen real quick right now. Because honestly,
it was super fun.
Yes, I don't know how much I looked at the clothes actually. I think I looked more at the fact that there were puppets and at the audience.
But at least you remember. You remember this collection, and you'll remember it. I mean, you will remember that this was a collection that was created during a pandemic, and I mean it's the same that we talked before. It's not escapism, you know. They are saying, okay, we couldn't do this, we couldn't do the collection this way, the usual way, so we did it another way, and let's find a way to present it. They wanted to show something different, and then you can remember it. Super viral.
Yes, of course. And I think you're right. I mean, it's continuing with what Mucha was saying. I love how I say Mucha, like she's my friend, you know, like Muta, my body. Mrs. Prada was saying about this season being less about new and more about the brand's essence. So I think this was very Moschino. Mm-hmm. I think this was super a great move from Jeremy Scott.
It's Moschino's DNA, you know, like
fun, quirky. I think he has done a Barbie collection before, so this just made so much sense.
Yes.
Yeah, so we give it a 10 out of 10 for originality.
And communication.
Communication, yeah. And last flight of Fashion Month, we're flying to Paris now.
And we are not actually flying because we live here.
So it's more like we're staying in Paris, but...
we're on the metro going to the shows. Because actually there were actual shows, like physical shows, and
digital shows. I mean, digital experiences, let's say. I read a statistic that, well, not a statistic, like a
fact.
A fact that there were 18 physical shows
out of 84 brands that were
in the calendar.
In the official calendar.
Yeah, so if you want to check out all the digital presentations of Paris, you can do so in the link we're going to put in the description. So you can go there. This is the official calendar of la Fédération de la Mode de Paris. And you can look at all the videos we will talk about and even the runways. So check it out. First stop, I think it should be Marine Serre, because it's one of the brands that presented a video this season. And I think, and this was sort of a story that was very open for interpretation when you watch it, but I think it was so beautiful. I don't know how to explain it.
It was
like
super well made. I
yes.
mean, everything was
visually it was amazing, and then the looks, you could see them very well, like the looks, the accessories and everything, but it wasn't the main focus of the video. There was an actual storyline, a character that walked through a very post-apocalyptic, minimalistic Marine Serre world and explored it and met someone, and you could see that there's a story to follow, you know.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry. But yeah, I think you should go check it out if you can. If you are looking at the screen, you are watching some images of the video. And yeah, the collection was very Marine Serre, of course. I think she designs for the times we live in.
Yes, you know, Marine Serre is one of the brands that does upcycling. This is very important. It's part of their DNA. It's not something that they have done recently, but they have done it since the beginning. Yes, since the beginning.
And so I think it was the first brand that incorporated face masks before everybody else did. Before we had to incorporate
before
them.
it was mainstream.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, her collections are always very kind of dystopic. Yeah. Yes. And this one is no exception, but the tailoring is beautiful. Of course, the moon logo that you recognize, it's very present. And the presentation, like we said, is very, very mesmerizing. So we recommend you watch it. Then
we went to Dior's show.
Yeah.
It was held in Jardin des Tuileries.
Yes. Every season, since a few seasons now, they've done the show there. But this season, it was different in the sense that they had, I think, half the guests or a third of the guests they normally do, because normally it's like a stadium. And now it was like empty. Well, there were a lot less people. And
you have like 1 meter of distancing.
Exactly. And we will tell you more about it in our dedicated video to the Dior collection, because we were there and we loved it. It was such a almost religious experience, like going into a church, and you will see why in the video. But it was great. And we will move on to Cochet. We were also there, and this was, I think, a very nice way to do an outside socially distanced runway.
It was in a park in Butte-Chaumont, which is in the 20th arrondissement of Paris. It's not very far from our studio. And here the casting was sauvage, so this is weird, savage. I don't know what
savage casting.
Savage.
I don't know if that's how you translate it actually, but
on the streets, like a casting on the streets.
Yeah, like real people.
People from Paris that they think they are cool,
and yeah, that was super cool. It was a very even the music, instead of putting like speakers every 20 meters, they had like a trio of bagpipes. So as you know, this instrument carries. So we were all along we were very far apart actually, like it was very long, but the bagpipes were in the middle next to the like a little lake. So it was so beautiful. We fell in Scotland with the music, and it was cloudy, a bit rainy, so it went very well with the mood. And well, the collection was of course very kosher, a mix between sporty and romantic, with lace and feathers. And
our favorite look was the last one.
Oh yes.
So we're gonna show you.
Yes, look at the screen now if you can again. Don't crash, please. But this is a like a bridal look on a man.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean, beautiful. We're so sorry for the person that had to clean that, because this guy walked 100 or 200 meters of mud, but
it was rainy.
Yeah. But it was worth it. It was beautiful, a beautiful effect.
Of course.
Another original show we saw, I mean, it was not even a show, but a presentation. It was Patou. And it was staged like a show. So you arrived to the offices of Patou, actually, in the Ile de la Cité, in the middle of Paris. And you went inside. I mean, there were chairs and everything. Like a show, like going around the runway. But there were no models.
You were the one walking.
Exactly. You were the one walking on the runway, and all the clothes were on mannequins. Yeah. And there was the designer explaining to you like the collection.
It was magical.
It was amazing, because normally like you just read like what he meant with the collection and everything, but there you had him in person, his words, you could ask him questions.
I think we should do a video about this.
Oh, yeah.
We have some footage about it.
Yeah. Well, so you'll be able to watch it soon.
Yes, and stay tuned. And also, before we forget, subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, let us know if you're enjoying this format in the comment below, and subscribe if
we
you
know
are.
that there are people that are watching this or listening to this and they are not subscribing, so
we know who you are, so if you're enjoying this, please subscribe. It will really help us out. So let's keep going. Another great show of Paris, I think, was Balmain. Like 100 points for originality, because I don't know if you saw this, he put in his front row screens. So like his first 3 rows actually were screens of the people who would be normally sitting there, so you had Anna Wintour and Edward Enninful and all the people who could not travel from other cities, and they were there like
in the front row
in a Zoom call in the front row. But it was so
super
funny.
well calculated.
Yeah,
because I think it was, I mean, on a production level it was great.
I don't know if it was recorded, but it was too perfect, everybody was in a white background.
And the thing is that everyone played the game.
Yes.
I don't know, à jouer le rôle.
Yes, exactly. Like everybody pretended, or maybe they were, I don't even know, like they were watching the collection and they had their phones out and like...
I mean, and having Anna Wintour doing that.
Yes. I mean, bravo to Olivier, because
Olivier's team also.
Olivier's team.
We have
bravo to the team who did the heavy lifting, I'm sure. But this was a super idea and it was super well executed, so yay. And of course the collection, again, as you're noticing the pattern, it was very, very Balmain. So nothing out of the ordinary. Balmain 80s, fun, shoulder pads, glamour.
And the first part, it was very old school, so it's very different. And I think the models were walking like, like before, where the designers were showing their collections. He's seated in a chair watching his collection being presented by models. I think it was amazing, and I really liked the first part. I would have loved to see these formats the whole show.
Yeah.
Yes, because some people like criticize this
format,
because they said it was super diverse in terms of casting, and it was super interesting, and it was super different. And everyone is saying, why did it change drastically from this mood to the other?
Oh, I
because
see.
After it's like normal Balmain. So that's what I read in the comments.
So I want to make a small parenthesis to talk about Nina Ricci. they did a very cute video presentation where it's like the video is like an iPhone screen, so it's like blocked, and then they receive messages, and it's like they're watching a video, but then they receive a message like, oh my god, so cute, and things like this. Like if they were talking, the designers are talking to each other or something like this. It's super beautiful.
I think it's how the collection was made, right? I mean the exchanges between them about the inspiration, like, have you seen this? Did you like it? I don't know if I'm mistaken.
I think it is, and I don't know if you remember that it is something like similar that what John Galliano did for the haute couture in July. He had like a sort of documentary of like an hour where he
for Margiela
haute couture, where he like recorded all of his Zoom calls about the collection. And
the creative process.
Yes, all of the creative process, the modern way to do it, via Zoom and everything. And he talks about his references, his inspirations. And so I think it's sort of like the same concept, but brought to pret-a-porter and to the phone, like a bit, a distillation of this idea, like a quick way to show this idea. And the collection in itself, I mean, I love Nina Ricci.
And what I loved the most, it was flowers as accessories. Maybe we should put this, watch this in the screen. It was amazing. I mean, it was so beautiful.
Yeah, I really, really like what they're doing with Nina Ricci.
And the colors are amazing.
Wait, let me Google the names because they're super complicated. Rushmi Butter and Lizzie Herberg.
No.
Yeah, it's I mean, look at the screen if you want to see how you write that. But they're so talented. And finally, the last day of Fashion Week, the two heavyweights that presented a physical show were Chanel and Louis Vuitton. Chanel, maybe you've seen the images, it was in the Grand Palais. Virginie Viard took inspiration from Hollywood, but she did it the Chanel way, and she did like the Hollywood sign, but obviously it said Chanel, like in ultra massive. I think it was like real size maybe, inside of the Grand Palais. And the guests were only celebrities and French press, and the collection was amazing. I mean, I want to wear everything. And the thing about Virginie, I think, is different with Carl because she's a woman, so she actually wears the clothes she designs. And Carl made beautiful images and clothes that were
beautiful.
Like editorial,
yes, but less wearable.
Yes, more for a dream concept than real life. And I think Virginie, those clothes that she wears, because she wears Chanel, obviously. So she's like, what do I need this?
Yes, you want to have it and just walk on the streets with those pieces.
Yes.
I mean, you are not saying just, oh, it's good for a gala. No, you're saying, I want to wear this every day. I mean, if I could.
Yeah, I wish I could have that Chanel coat, or the Chanel jeans or the dress, the white dresses at the end. Like, you just want to wear that on a summer day. It's so beautiful.
So at the end, it makes dream about the collection.
Maybe less fantasy and more like a reality-based dream. Because maybe it's because of the COVID, but now we are dreaming of the simpler stuff, like I dream of hugging a friend, or I dream of going to a movie. Yes. It's funny because it's true. And finally, Louis Vuitton. Well, I was invited to this show. It was in La Samaritaine. This is an iconic Paris building and department store that has been recently purchased by LVMH, and I think it's just in the last stages of being refurbished. I think it's going to be in a hotel as well, if I'm not mistaken, but especially it's a department store. And the show was held in the last floor. It was super beautiful. All of the handrails were Art Nouveau, and like the paintings in the walls, in the ceiling as well. It was very, very, very beautiful. But what was more interesting is that it was a beautiful live experience, but it was also made thinking about a digital audience.
The walls were like green
like
screen.
A green screen, yeah. Everything was covered in green,
And the people who were in the physical show, they were just seeing these green walls. But the people that were watching it online, they were watching actual videos.
And what was great was there were some green bags as well. So when the models were walking, in their bags there was a movie playing. So I thought it was such a smart way to play with the physical reality and the digital reality, that every person gets a different experience, that this bag for me was green, and for Lucia watching from home it was a movie.
Yes, Elle du Désir, a film by Wim Wenders.
Wow.
I think it was amazing. I mean, I liked that they thought about everything.
Yes.
And I think that was the challenge for this fashion week, and it was a success.
Month. Yeah. That's it for our huge wrap up of the fashion month. We need to drink some water. And now we'll talk about the trend to keep an eye on this month.
I think the biggest trend to be spoken of is inclusivity. I think it shouldn't be a trend, it should be the norm. But at least I think we're in the beginning of something new.
Yeah,
like the beginning of
the right direction.
The right direction, exactly.
Yeah, I think it wasn't a trend in the sense that everyone was doing it, but more in the sense of if you didn't do it, it seemed very evident, like very noticeable. And not only in runways, but I don't know if you watched Emily in Paris. I think everyone watched it. Did you watch it?
I watched just the first episode.
For me, it was very evident, the lack of diversity, and maybe it's something I never noticed before, and now it's something that screams at me, and that's very good, I think.
I don't know in which Paris they live, because that's not Paris.
Of course. Yeah, Paris is super diverse, and I think it's just one example. In the runways, you could see more and more inclusivity, body inclusivity, racial inclusivity, gender inclusivity, age. Yeah.
And I think the most important is that if you do the right casting, everything's okay. So we shouldn't congratulate the brands that they are doing it.
Yeah, I think it's like you say, it should become a norm. In the end, the needle is moving toward a more diverse direction, which I think it has to. It's great. And this season, I think more than ever, I felt it. And that's good.
So our trend report here is not a trend. It's the new norm, I hope.
And fashion-wise, the trend that we noticed all across the board in every city, in every type of designer and brand, I think it was, again, like Miuccia Prada said, a return to a brand's essence. A return to the brand's essential, to a brand's roots. I think every brand tried to be the more quintessential form of itself that it possibly could.
I think it's like the notion of familiarity, and brands wanted to be familiar. I mean, wanted to show something that can be perceived as familiar for the consumers, the viewers, everyone. And they wanted to give a little bit of certainty in these uncertain times, right?
Yeah, of course, that you know what to expect from your good old Chanel collection, that you're not going to get something crazy or unexpected from them as well. We've had enough unexpected in 2020, I think, for a lifetime. But to know more about the actual fashion trends of the shows, we'll do a video on that. So stay tuned to the channel for that in the future. But yeah, I think these were the two big trends we spotted this month.
Let's go to the media.
The big news in fashion media this month, I think, was the appointment of former Marie Claire editor-in-chief to Pinterest as the head of content and editorial partnerships. Her name is Aya Kanai.
And Aya Kanai will lead the company's global vision for editorial integrations between creators, publishers, and the product.
So I think this is very interesting because it shows not only how inside the companies, the magazines, they're doing a shift towards the digital, but even editors who before maybe would have thought digital beneath them, like print editors who think that digital is not as good as print, Now she's moving to a digital position of content creation. And I think this is very telling of the trend of fashion communication. You know, I think digital, of course, we know is super important today, but it's becoming not only more and more relevant and with a bigger authority, you know?
Legitimacy.
That's the word I was looking for. Before, it was not as legitimate as print, and now I think it's becoming. And this is a big proof of that.
Yes.
Okay, that was short section. Now off to business. Okay, so I think the big news this month was, of course, the backing off of LVMH of the deal of buying Tiffany. I don't know if you guys were up to date with that.
LVMH was actually buying Tiffany, and I think it was like 2 weeks ago, but they said, no, we're not gonna buy you anymore.
Yeah, so this was big news because this was going to be the biggest acquisition in luxury in the history.
$16.2 billion.
It was agreed upon last year, obviously before the pandemic, and now LVMH is trying to back up the deal. It's still not certain that they will be able to because they had already promised the purchase. But I think Bernard Arnault is citing like a request from the French government to stop the deal because of trade conflicts with the US government. But a lot of people are looking at this as just an excuse and that he actually just wants to
negotiate.
Yeah, negotiate a better price.
Like they are saying that Arnault is too good in negotiation to back up on this deal, and he's just doing this to lower the price, of course. And to say I'm walking away, and he's not.
I mean, it's too good a deal to pass up. No, I think Tiffany is a super brand. I don't think LVMH has enough jewelry in their portfolio. I think it's just what they need. And speaking of that, I read recently that maybe he did that because he's actually going to try to buy Richemont, which is, as you know, the owner of Cartier and other jewelry and luxury brands. These are all theories.
Gossip.
Yeah.
Some gossip here.
Finance gossip.
Rumors, because we don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone knows.
But the actual news is that LVMH is trying to pull off this deal. We'll see what happens. I think they have a hearing for next year with the US institutions, and we'll keep you posted. And finally,
let's go to our last news.
It's one that we'd like to hear your opinion about because we actually don't know what to think about this.
We are confused because Amazon is launching a luxury boutique.
Yeah, I don't know if you are aware of this, but Amazon has been trying to go into the luxury fashion game for almost like 10 years. But as you may guess, they don't have the most luxurious image. You know, if you sell toilet paper, it's obvious that a brand such as Dior, for example, will not want to find their product in your shopping cart next to toilet paper. So obviously it's kind of tricky for them how to associate their brand to very luxurious brands, but they are trying and this is their new attempt. So what do you think? You would buy something from Amazon?
It would be weird. I mean, people that are buying Chanel, for example, are buying an experience. That's why you pay that price, because you are buying the experience. You are buying going to the shop and then being received in the boutique, buy a purse and you drink champagne. I don't know. It's the whole experience that you buy. It will be weird to pay the same price for the same product without the experience.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because we already have, I mean, I'm not saying I don't agree with you, but we already have luxury brands that sell online. Chanel doesn't, but Gucci, you can buy a Gucci bag in the website. And what's the difference between buying it in the Gucci website than in the Amazon website? You know,
because Gucci maybe created an experience in their own website.
But this is exactly what Amazon is trying to do. Like, they give you a small boutique within their platform, so you can create your own experiences and do whatever you want, like your own storefront. And I think there are now two brands.
Yes, Oscar de la Renta and
Roland Mouret.
Yes.
They're the first two to sign up, and they say that they have more interest, so they will be announcing more soon. And yeah, we'll have to see if it works for them. I mean, let us know in the comments below if
what you think.
If you would buy like a luxury item from Amazon. Many people are saying that it would be like buying a Dior bag from Walmart. So I don't know how you feel about it.
I think we should see.
Yeah, I mean,
because I feel like very old school saying, no, the experience, leave
this
the
will
digital.
never work. On the other hand, they have been trying for 8 years and have not been successful yet. So maybe this will work. Let's see.
They are very resilient.
Yeah, I think this shows the huge potential of luxury fashion online. I think it has not been yet fully exploited.
So, guys, let us know what you thought about this new format that we have. We wanted to give you news, information,
a little discussion, obviously, so you know a bit about our thoughts and opinions, and
we are just thinking out loud.
Yes, so that's it for the first edition of This Month in Fashion. We really hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments below what you think of this very peculiar fashion month and of the other stories we discussed today.
And don't forget to subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and share this content with anyone you think might find it interesting.
Thank you so much for listening. See you soon
at Gazette.